Hello and welcome to Hucklebearys Outdoor Adventures. It's been a while, guys. Yep, it's been a really boring winter. Not gonna lie, I think my last recorded episode was in November, and this is kind of my slow season, so I really didn't do too much, but we'll do a recap. If you have missed me by some weird chance, I'm sure that pretty much my listener base is gone, which is fine. I can't really blame anyone, but I've still been recording with Botches Off-Road. That's been taking part of my time. Watching my son during the winter has been tough, but really nice. We've been able to bond better, and yeah, it's been great. So last time we talked was in November about cryptids, and we are past the cryptid part for the year. So we're going to be moving on to my long recap of the winter and how that went. So starting out with November, nothing super interesting in November. We started getting some snow, so I started playing around in the snow, took some pictures. Not too much there. Started looking at different upgrades. I got some gear from Bison Gear, like the propane tank mount. So we started getting that kind of hooked up, started doing some content on that, and had that posted, working on the Instagram content. And then I was kind of sketching out ideas for the new year and new organization for the FJ. So my plan is to gut their back and make a platform. My son is now in a front-facing seat, so I'm going to put him in the 40% out of the 60-40 back seat and take the 60 out and make a platform from the 60 and into the back. Maybe I'll leave the back. Maybe I'll just put a platform at the 60. But either way, I'm going to do something around that and rebuild my drawer system and stuff, and see if I could do it cheap, use some file cabinets or something. I haven't quite decided on how I want to go. And maybe, who knows, maybe when camp time comes and maybe I haven't gotten to it yet, then maybe I won't. But right now, that is the plan. Alex and I went out a couple times in December, just some snow wheeling. It was absolutely frigid. We had a really cold winter this year. We hit negatives a lot. There was a couple weeks where that's all we were in was negatives the whole time. So Alex had a much more eventful winter working on his truck and Mark's truck, new bumper, new roof rack, stuff like that. I have been planning, maintaining, and organizing my equipment. I did get a diesel heater. Alex gifted me a diesel heater because I talked so much about getting one. He was just tired of it, and so he got me one. So I got that in mid-December. Tested it out with my current battery pack, which was, I think, an Anchor 512. And on a full charge on the Anchor, I could get about 6 hours on it. But that was a full charge. That's all I got. And then I couldn't, and that's not charging my phone, that's not doing anything. So I made a decision that later I would be working on getting a second battery, and made that the priority for the winter. So with that in mind, I started doing some planning towards, I would say like December 19th or so. I'm looking at my past photos to kind of get me a reference, but me and Alex had a recovery call, and we took it, went to go check it out. There was a lady down deep in a ditch, and she really needed some help, and it was going to be a really tough recovery for us. We started planning it out. We were going to hook winches to both sides, the front and back of her car, and pull her out on the side so she didn't go against the trees. Just as we did that, her flatbed finally showed up after not being there all day. And he actually helped us, so all three of us ended up getting her out. Again, there's more on this, on more of my topics, more breakdown on that, on Botches Off-Road. I'm just kind of giving you a rundown of what happened. But we ended up getting her out. that was probably the toughest recovery we've had. And it was icy. It was cold. You know, it was fun though. And, you know, we were pretty damn official about it. Even the tow guy gave us a kudos. So, yeah, moving into late December, not much, you know, Christmas, all that. And then we get into January. And of course, we had the MST New Year's poker run. We actually brought Sienna's dad with us this time. And so he came with us, see what it's all about. This year was a lot better than last year. A lot more traction, a lot more snow. We weren't sliding around anywhere near as much. So, I mean, we had an absolute blast. And, you know, we even did the last obstacle, which is the hardest one that 99% of the people didn't go through. We actually made it through, and a couple other made it through, but we were the first to break the line, I guess is how I would say. So that was really fun. I was really proud of myself because that is not easy. So I was really proud of pushing myself and stuff like that. So I did figure out later at some point, we were having some issues with my truck kind of stuttering at a stop. It was like brake related, something gear related. And I think we figured it out that my emergency brake cable was clamping on and wasn't releasing at all. And that was causing that. So it's kind of gone away now. It hasn't been decent enough to actually take everything apart. I haven't felt like doing it in my muddy driveway. So now that spring is here, I'm kind of getting that stuff on the list. And then late January, I actually went winter camping, had the diesel heater set up, kind of dialed in. Mitch from MST, one of my friends that I've camped with a couple times before, invited us out, and I went solo because I wanted to test it out, and thank God I did. We went on some trails. There was almost 3 foot of snow, maybe more, and we got stuck for hours out there. We only made it probably 50 yards, 75 yards onto the trail, and we were there for hours just trying to get turned around. Like, it was just horrible. But horrible in a present sense. It was a great experience in the past sense. Like, as soon as we got out of there, I was good. Like, it was a good experience. Nothing broke. We were both tired, both cold, but it was a good experience. So I camped out that night, tested out the diesel heater. It just didn't work for what I needed in my tent. It also made me realize that this would not work for a family. Wasn't enough insulation. The wind was getting in the tent too easily. The tent was mostly mesh, and there was just no insulating properties to it. And that kind of made me decide, like, hey, we're going to need to start looking at a new family tent. Our 6-person tent that we did have is getting old. It's the reserves right now, so we knew we needed to get something bigger, try to get something that one person can put up by themselves. And I started looking. So my criteria was hopefully light, easy to set up, one person setup, quick-ish setup, 3 to 4 season, and about 5 people, 4 to 6 people size. And I want it to be super easy. I want it to be tough. I want it to be the end-all, be-all. And obviously, you can't have your cake and eat it too, so we had to make some decisions. Of course, the thing everyone was going for was like the T4 Gazelle. I was looking at one for a long time, and I was pretty sure I was going to go with it, and almost positive. It was called the Acacia, but their customer service wasn't active, their socials weren't active, and I just wasn't confident that they were going to be able to have the support that I needed later down the line, so I took a pass on that. And oddly enough, Gazelle dropped the exact tent that I was looking for. It had a full front door. It was 4-season, 5-person. It wasn't light. It's like 60-some pounds. And it's long, so it's going to have to go on the roof probably. But everything else is exactly what I wanted. So with that in mind, we started talking about that, making that the plan. And as of right now, it is March 9th. It should be here in a couple days, and I'm super excited for it. You will see videos on it so far on YouTube. If I get it and I can get a video uploaded quick, I will be the first person on YouTube to have a in-depth or semi-in-depth review of this tent. So I'm really excited for that. That'd be a good opportunity for me to get my foot in the door for reviews and stuff like that. So bingo bango. Some other time in the winter, I also figured out that I changed my diff oil, and there was some slivers. I was seeing some silver. So I recognized that my diff might be going out, so I'm keeping an eye on that. I'm actually going to change it out here once we get some warmer weather and see where we're at. But yeah, so just organizing, getting things ready. I've been labeling batteries. I've been thinking about what we really need and don't need for this next year. Cooking stuff is going to stay the same. I have the same stove. It's the Coleman 212. I think it's a 22,000 BTU in both sides. We still have the Jet Boil Minimo. That thing's great for coffee or boiling some quick water. What else? The EcoFlow fridge that's been charging or been maintained all winter, so that's going to be going back in. The Gerber Complete eating set, so that's comes with a full-size skillet, full-size pot, plates, bowls, handle for the pot and skillet, and 2 different lids. Probably forgetting something else. But yeah, so that's still coming. That has been great, super heavy duty. The plates and stuff have been great. Culinary wise, utensils, using the same utensils that I had last year. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And spices wise, it's going to be the same too. Salt, pepper. I'll have hot sauce in the fridge. I'll have oregano, thyme, garlic powder, onion powder. Just the basics to make a camp meal decent. Yeah. Otherwise, I did do some improvements and did get my second battery put in too during this winter. That was about last month, right before I went to Mitch's camp retreat. So that was a really interesting ordeal, trying to figure that out. Not bad, but interesting. So what I ended up doing is I guess it was around New Year's, I went to go hook up into my Anderson connector that I had ported out right next to my front headlight, and a piece of plastic it's got a cap and everything. Looked really good. But what had happened was, I don't think I insulated the Anderson well enough with heat shrink and whatever. Water and moisture got into that negative cable and completely rotted that negative cable 4 or 5 inches up. So I was trying to plug stuff in and nothing was working. I couldn't figure it out. Turns out when I went and pulled that whole thing out, it just crumbled right off of there. So I had already started thinking about, it would be really nice to just have this on the inside anyway. So what I ended up doing was cutting off both cables going to that, getting a nice clean cut, stripping them out, putting an Anderson, or putting a large connector, and then running that 4-gauge wire back into the firewall, into the cab, and behind my driver's side seat where I would be able to plug in my air compressor, which means I needed to switch my Anderson on my air compressor to a new Anderson. So I went and did that, switched the Anderson on my air compressor to a new Anderson. They are the larger sizes to accommodate the 4-gauge wire I was using, which was tough, but I ended up filling the leads with some solder and stuff to keep them in there, then crimped them extra tight. So everything works good there. On top of that, I got my marine battery, got an isolator, got a box. Put the marine battery in the box. There's a little separator to keep the battery from sliding in the box. And I actually just bolted down the isolator to the separator and then ran the wires from the isolator. So the isolator only has your positive wires on it. So I ran the positive wires to the isolator and then to the battery, and then out of the isolator, connected my ground, made that into an Anderson to plug into my Anderson coming from my home battery. So what that does is you have your Anderson coming from the home battery, and you have the power or the Anderson coming from your spare battery. You'll get that power coming in, and what's nice about having the isolator is it lets power come in, but it doesn't let power go out. Doesn't let it pull. It doesn't let it pull from the main battery. So once your battery's full, you don't have to worry about when you're letting it sit for a while. You don't have to worry about the main battery pulling from it. So you can hear it click on and click off. And it's got a power button. It's got a little voltmeter on the isolator. So that when you do want to use the isolator and it's not plugged into your vehicle, you just press the power button on the isolator. Turns that on so that you have the power. And then you just plug your utility into it. For me, it's a diesel heater. I could probably run 3 days on that battery with a diesel heater. I don't think I'd have a problem with it. You can also plug in your air compressor, which, like I said, I changed Andersons on. So everything's the same Anderson. The air compressor originally had a smaller one, the smaller sizes, and so I just changed everything to a larger size to make it uniform. So not only can I use that power from my main battery to power my air compressor, I can power my spare battery. I can plug jumpers into that Anderson and have jumpers. So yeah, it's pretty nice. But yeah, so I have that down there, and that's all figured out. That's all done. Basically, all I have to do is tuck the wire, but I'm not going to do that just yet because of what I mentioned previously about doing the seat delete. I still want to figure out where I want to have everything yet. So with the 4060 delete, technically my kid is going to be behind me. Although I am going to try, and I don't think I'll be able to because of how the seat belts are, but I'm going to see if I can move that 40 to where the 60 was, if the bolts are the same, if it lines up. That way I can keep my basic same setup as I have now and just have the kid behind my wife on the 40%er. But we'll see. I don't know exactly how it's going to work yet. But yeah, so that's kind of what I have going on right now. I have the tent coming in a couple days. That is the Gazelle T5 backcountry. It was a very expensive purchase. We were able to get a GovX discount on it, so it wasn't as expensive as what it would have been, but it was still quite pricey. So I'm really happy about that. Really excited for it to get in. Like I said, full door in the front. It's got Velcro windows for screen, and then it's got actually a plastic Velcro that can go over that to help with insulation. So yeah, I'm super stoked about that. I think that it's going to be a game changer for us. I just have to get over the weight and the size. Like it is not small. It's bulky, but I think the benefits are going to outweigh the cons. And honestly, for the price I'm paying for it, it's going to have to. So yeah, thanks for doing this update with me. Like I said, be patient. Life's busy. And honestly, when I don't have the content, I don't want to sit and pretend and bullshit constantly. Bullshitting is cool, and I'm willing to do that, but I'm already doing it on botches when we don't have much going on. And I don't want to bullshit about the same thing on here if people are still listening to botches. Like, if I'm giving you like my weekend breakdown on botches, I don't want you to come back, listen to my episode here, and it's the exact same thing, right? So, of course, when we do have recaps that overlap, yeah, that'll probably be that. I'll probably give a general recap on botches and then an in-depth of what happened here, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I haven't done much without hanging out with them. It's the family hasn't been camping. We haven't been doing anything. So it's like, I don't know. It just felt pointless to me. So I appreciate anybody who is listening that's been kind of holding on or just kind of waiting for the next one. We will have more. Like I said, content is coming. Spring is finally here. We finally gotten a couple 60-degree days. All the snow is gone. It's just that mucky mud and, rain. We did have just a really large EF3 tornado run through the south part of Michigan and just destroy a ton. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, we're going to make it through. So thank you guys for listening. And we'll see you on the next ones.